What's up, YouTube? It's Count, aka Cam, put you on, and today we are reviewing Tyler, the Creator, Chromacopia. As you may know, this is Tyler, the Creator's like billionth album, bro. He's dropped infinite albums, okay? Way too many. But before we get into that, as always, if you like the content, hit me with a like and subscribe, and comment what you thought about the album. Do you think my review is solid? Do you agree, disagree? Anything to add? Whatever, man. I like talking to y'all. But let's get into it. So, off rip, we gotta talk about this Rollout, man. And y'all probably have seen it. If you're a Tyler, Creator fan, or just music fan in general, like, you saw parts of this Rollout. I mean, he dropped M.A.A.D. He dropped Saint Chroma. He dropped a vinyl Rollout where he was, like, showing that he's dropping a vinyl and merch. So just to even start out with this Rollout of this album, I think you have to include that in an album review. Like, that is insane, bro. Insane. I mean, he was up there dancing, like, he was in there getting crunk, bro. Like, he was in there moving, you feel me? Like, stuttering. I don't know what was happening, but it had me hyped. And you know I got the green on right now, so you know I'm repping it right now. And I'm not gonna lie, the Rollout got to me, bro. The Rollout was top tier. He previewed songs, previewed everything, bro. Like, the vibe, the general mask, everything. And I kind of talk about this in my last video where I talk about M.A.A.D and kind of being paranoid and kind of this whole idea behind this initial Rollout and this kind of vibe for the actual album. This Rollout, in my opinion, was his best Rollout so far, because before we had Call Me If You Get Lost, where he had Lumberjack, he had a couple other songs where he kind of did the same type of thing, where he kind of previewed, but I don't think he really had a character so much so as he did with this Rollout. And so it kind of created this initial aesthetic off rip that I loved, bro. I love this aesthetic and everything about it. Really had no critiques, and the songs were hard-hitting to me. I kind of had, some had mixed reviews on Twitter, but I don't go to Twitter for my opinions, gang. I can't do it, bro. Twitter is tweaking 95% of the time. Don't go to Twitter for no opinions. This Rollout was one of my favorites, bro. Like, I don't think anybody has had a better Rollout to me. There's been some good ones, like Kendrick, I think, has solid rollouts, but overall, not a huge fan of everybody else's. Like, I haven't seen one quite as thought out, well-planned, meticulous, and so just album was announced with the initial video, and then a week later, on a Monday night, the album dropped. Like, or Monday morning the album dropped, which also I think goes with this Rollout. This drop date of a Monday, like I'm going to work. I called off, by the way, not for that. I saw Vince Staples the night before, so don't y'all start calling me a glazer. No, don't start calling me a glazer. I called off because I saw Vince Staples and I was tired the next day. But if my job sees this, I was so sick I couldn't come in. But I woke up, got to listen to it, just chill, relax during the day. It was kind of nice because normally Friday nights or Thursday nights you're kind of going out, or maybe you just got school the next day or you got work that next day, but Monday morning on your way to work, you can listen to this album, and it was kind of cool seeing that. And I believe this was his biggest day one, like, album debut. So to have that on a Monday morning was so beautiful, bro. Like, it's actually amazing. So this Rollout for me gets a 10 out of 10. Without a doubt, gets a 10 out of 10. Moving on to the next part of this review, which I believe should be sequencing, okay? And what do I mean by sequencing? Some people got different opinions on this, but it's basically how the album is structured. So do songs flow together? Are they in a cohesive thought, cohesive pattern? Some albums don't really have sequencing, like Pink Panthers is popularly discussed, kind of just putting her songs randomly on the album because that's how she listens to music. But for me as a music fan, I love sequencing, and I love the intentional thoughtfulness behind sequencing. A good example of this that I think most people would understand is Good Kid, Mad City told the story top down. That's one major aspect of sequencing for an album. But even Tyler, the Creator, like Igor, I think all those songs kind of flow together. I think Flower Boy had great sequencing. Didn't really tell like an entire story, kind of like Igor did. But Flower Boy was very beautiful in its own right. So it's kind of great to see this be repeated with Chromacopia. I genuinely loved the sequencing behind this. I think we started off kind of in your face, very strong with something like Saint Chroma. Had Daniel Caesar, so it kind of had that beautiful aspect that Tyler usually incorporates with his music. But then we go to Ratata, which is just hard-hitting, bro. It just comes in hard-hitting. Love the production here, very grand, very in your face. And we continue that up with Noid, which kind of has a more laid back type of vibe, but it's still in your face, kind of hard, but I think it's less so than Ratata, which is just straight fire beat in your face, non-stop, and I'm rapping about being cool, being in my whip, driving down, and it makes me want to drive fast in my car. It's low-key kind of a hazard, but it was beautiful to see. And then we go straight from Noid into Darling. So Noid kind of slows it down already, but Darling is this beautiful kind of like singing about like love and like kind of having love, but not really being in love and not being able to like keep up with love. You know what I'm saying? So it kind of falls back, and then we go to Hey Jane. And we'll talk more about these songs later in the video as well. But just based on the sequencing, the theme here is kind of we start off strong, now we roll it back till we get to Judge Judy, which then another slow song, very slow, very sad song. We flow right into Sticky. We flow right into Sticky, which is hard hitting. Boom. Then we go Take Your Mask Off. Boom. Then we go Tomorrow, where we slow down again. We slow down. Just chill out. Like Take Your Mask Off was kind of a medium tempo song. Now we go to Tomorrow, talking about his mother and things like that. Aging. You know what I'm saying? Settling down. But then Thought I Was Dead comes back. And like, you're kind of being pulled each way, which a lot of albums do. A lot of albums have strong songs in your face. Sometimes we have slow songs. But I think the beauty here is that you're not being jolted. It's like more of a pull, like a soft pull. Like, okay, we have Saint Chroma, which kind of starts you off kind of strong. Then we have Ratata, which pushes you all the way over. Then we have Noid, kind of brings you back towards the middle a little bit. And now we go to Darling, which is like way more chill. And I think it's so cool to have that kind of be the theme behind this album. And of course, this does have a lot of meaning and story behind each of the songs, with the overall premise of, I'm a regular person, maybe I need to slow down, I've done a lot already, what is there now? Like, where are we going now? Like, what is the motive here? What do I want for myself? What does everybody want from me? How am I interacting with this world with this mask that I have on? So it's really cool to see that and have that sequencing be so consistent. I just overall like really, really love that about this album. It was amazing, to be honest. Like, again, I wouldn't change the sequencing at all. But I think some people may have like wanted it to be just more hard hitting and things like that. So I definitely understand that. But for me, I was a big fan of that sequencing. But going into production, now we're starting with the heavy hitters. Okay, now we're at the heavy hitter. Because when I go to a Tyler album, what I listen for a lot of the time is beat. Okay? Production, mixing, mastering, chords. I'm looking for grandioseness. I'm looking for these heavy synths in your face, these trumpets, the brass, violin, everything. That is exactly what Tyler delivers here, bro. Like, it felt like a perfect combination between a Cherry Bomb and a Call Me If You Get Lost, with Igor in the middle making this like perfect sandwich. That's what Chromacopia was to me, and it was just a perfect blend of everything we've been working towards with Tyler. Of course, there's some Flower Boy aspects in here as well. I would say that was more of a garnish, more of a seasoning, where we have kind of that sprinkled about, but I wouldn't necessarily say it was like a meat of the sandwich. I don't think it was a meat. I think it was more of a sauce. I was throughout the sandwich, and you got it with every bite, but you mostly tasted the bread, the cheese, the meat, like the pickles. Like, you're mostly tasting that, and then you get the sauce in the back, and you're like, oh, that's nice. That's exactly kind of how Flower Boy was for me. I loved it, bro. I think I'm looking at the playlist right now. I've added everything to my playlist except for 2 songs, which were due to like just how heavy they are. I can't listen to it all the time, but it's so beautiful. Like, they're beautiful songs still, and I like that we have these heavy synths, and then we have this kind of brass, like trumpets, hyping you up, and then we have these nice pianos in the back. Like, it might even be a couple keys, not even necessarily an entire like chord progression, like we normally see Tyler do with like Flower Boy or something. Or Call Me If You Get Lost had some aspects of that as well. But we see a lot of keys just randomly being played through these hard beats, and it's kind of very beautiful. It's almost grounding, because we're being lifted up with this heavy production, and then we're being cooled down with these nice keys. And I just loved seeing that, bro. I loved seeing that. It felt good. I felt good. And honestly, it allowed a lot of space for someone like a Teezo Touchdown to shine, or someone like a Daniel Caesar to shine. And I think it was also just very beautiful. However, these heavy synths these heavy drums, these heavy trumpets allowed people like Glorilla to shine. People like Sexy Red to shine. Lil Wayne can shine no matter what. Like, that's a given. But even like a Schoolboy Q or Doechii did amazing. And we'll get to the features more heavily. But I think the production allowed itself to work with all these different artists in their like space, like their natural habitat. Like if this is a hard-hitting beat, let's put Schoolboy Q on it, or Glorilla. If this is more of a soft tone, let's maybe put a Daniel Caesar in there. Like that's totally okay. Or a Baby Keem ad-lib. One singular ad-lib. But yeah, it was actually beautiful to see. And I really enjoyed the production overall. I don't think I would have changed much. I made this video. I don't know if I'll upload it to TikTok, but basically it's kind of like Tyler. Every time he's talking about his dad, it's always over these beautiful chords or the soft beat. And I'm always wanting some hard beat. Like I want Tyler to come in and F you, whoa, whoa. But he doesn't do that. And I think it kind of shows, and like I know this album kind of speaks, which we'll get to the lyrics after this. I know when he's talking about his dad now, it's kind of in a different context. And that's why it's kind of softer here. But even before, it's always been like soft beats. Like he always has a space of forgiveness a little bit, it kind of feels like, within his production. And it was just good to see. It's just good to hear. My ears were very stimulated. I felt like I was really just listening to the beat. To the point where I had to pull up the lyrics afterwards and kind of sit with those. So, going into the lyrics that I had to sit with, we have a lot of lyrics about Tyler the Creator feeling paranoid, feeling like he was being watched, feeling like he can't truly be himself. Maybe he doesn't know exactly who he is. Very real, very deep, very emotional topics. And a lot of people were comparing this to Mr. Morale in terms of like the heaviness, how vulnerable it is, how real it is. And I can definitely say that's true. Like with a song like Tomorrow, where he's talking about his mother aging, talking about like her jet black strands turning gray and her hands being wrinkled, not looking the same. Like that is something very real, something we all experience, whether it's your mom, your dad, your friend, your auntie, seeing them age and kind of having this realization of like, where am I at in my own life? Like, I'm going to be there one day. Am I living how I should have been living? Am I living how I want to be living? Another song, Hey Jane, where he's talking about kind of having to go through these an abortion, kind of not knowing exactly how to reconcile these thoughts, exactly how he feels, but he knows he's always supportive. And it's just so vulnerable. It's so beautiful. And I think these songs are going to get a lot of shine. I think the song talking about Like Him, where he's talking about looking like his dad, going to get a lot of shine. I think the song that I really thought was kind of a cool concept and kind of how he framed it was I Killed You, which comes right after Hey Jane, which is obviously talking about the abortion, so that kind of confirms that that's exactly what happened in that story. The Hey I Killed You was him talking about his hair and the different things that people do to their hair, like perm it, burn it, put different oils in it to make it look different. And it's kind of synonymous with him saying that he didn't necessarily accept his culture or himself or his hair or just how he looked. And I thought it was very beautiful kind of have that metaphor and also talking about like the relationship with himself. Talking about I killed it, like he's talking about killing himself. Such a beautiful kind of way to express that. And I wouldn't change a thing about that. Like, I think it's just very beautiful how he framed that and kind of how he expressed that. Like, I wouldn't change anything. Of course, a song like Him, amazing as well, talking about kind of how he feels with his dad, kind of how he is just like him and he wishes that he'd met. And then he learns from his mom that, oh, I am the one who pushed him away. Like, I didn't want him in your life because I just was young and dumb, kind of that whole vibe. It's very interesting to kind of hear a parent talk about that. And it doesn't feel cliche or corny as, like, if you brought this up to me, I would say it felt like that. Like, if you were like, oh, Tyler Creator's having his mom talk about, like, something bad that she did, I'd be like, that's a little weird. Like, you should have that between each other. But I think the way that Tyler did it, kind of expressing it through the song, and you can hear the remorse in her voice, and she says, please forgive me, kind of adds this context of, like, this is a real person speaking on real things in a way that we might not normally hear from an album or just a person in general. It's very hard to admit that type of thing, especially when it affects your kid. Getting from these deep topics, getting from these great lyrics, these great metaphors that I think he has, especially in like Take Your Mask Off, when he's talking about this person kind of being closeted and kind of having an outlandish behavior because of that. moving past that type of thing, I want to get into the features, who also had great lyrics, great energy, great vibes overall. And kind of the unique thing that Tyler did here, which I hadn't seen many artists do. So Sexy Red, Glorilla, and Lil Wayne were all on Sticky. Now, normally you'd have a 16 from each of them. They're massive artists, great rappers. They would have a 16, but there was only 8 bars for each of them, which allowed me initially, I was like, I don't know how I feel about this. Like, 8 bars doesn't feel like enough for a Lil Wayne verse, Glorilla verse, Sexy Red verse. But when I go back and listen to it now, I kind of appreciate that the song isn't super duper long with all these features, because maybe I wouldn't make it to one of them. But now, due to the 8 bars between each of these features, I easily get through the song. Very easily. And, like, it makes me want more, but that's okay. Like, there's something okay about that. And same with Schoolboy Q. I think he only has 8 bars. Again, I felt the same way, but he did such a good job. I let it go. I'm like, all right, bro. Like, you was rapping. We'll move on. It's okay. You was spitting. I'm not going to lie to you. You was spitting. I'll sit with that. But then you have someone like Doechii. I think she might actually have 16 or more than 8 for sure. She kills it. Teezo Touchdown, a very quick feature. Baby Keem just has a in one of the songs. For no reason, he just left the studio real quick, decided he wasn't going to rap. I don't know what happened. But it was kind of cool to see features be used in this kind of not formulaic way. They usually are with a 16, or if you have them on the song, they have a long verse. But he didn't really have that here. Especially even with like Daniel Caesar. Daniel Caesar only has like backing vocals, or maybe very small sections where he's actually singing. But a lot of it was Tyler, the Creator, just rapping. Or singing. He sang a couple times on here as well, which we hadn't seen him do. So overall, like, the features, the lyrics, the sequencing, the structure, the production, I liked everything about it. And that maybe it's only been a couple days, but I honestly have just been listening to this back to back to back, and it's not getting old. And I just appreciate a lot of this stuff more the more I listen to it. So overall, my ranking of this, give my review, I'm going to give it a 10 out of 10. I added most songs to my playlist. The topics were amazing. I don't think he wasted any time. I don't think he wasted any of the production, the features, the lyrics. Everything was so intentional from the rollout to the actual album. There's nothing I can give critique on. This was just an album that I genuinely enjoyed, and it was a great listen. And a lot of people were like, hey, this is an album that I'll listen to once and never go back to. That is okay. Like, not everything has to be replay value. Something like a Miss 'Em Around the Big Steppers, I also loved kind of that same way that people are talking about. Like, I only listened to it one time and then I was done, but that's okay. I love that album and I still go back to it every once in a while, and still a great experience. So, 10 out of 10 is my score. If you have a problem with that, come find me. Okay? Come find me. You don't want these problems. You don't want these problems. But anyway, let it go. You know what I'm saying? I don't want to rough none of y'all up. You feel me? But as always, I love you guys and appreciate you guys. Thank you for watching. If you like the content, make sure you hit me with a like and subscribe. Comment down below what you think, how you're feeling. Do you like the album? Do you not? What's the vibes? Is Anthony Fantano going to change your opinion on this album? Have I changed your opinion on this album? Because Anthony Fantano has influenced me a couple times, and I won't let him do it this time. He's not doing it this time. But as always, I love y'all and I appreciate y'all. Peace out. Be smooth. Make sure you check out my other videos. Peace. I love y'all.